Hello everybody! I am so excited for today's video. I am going to be reviewing A Court of Wings and Ruin. This book, amazing. Loved it to death. This was so good. Such an amazing conclusion to the series. Amazing. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you read the first one and you were like, oh, I don't particularly like this, I can't identify with Feyre, I don't particularly like Tamlin, push through it, because the character development is worth it. It is so worth it. The journey that Feyre goes through from the first book to Mist and Fury is incredible, and then it's even more from Mist and Fury to Wings and Ruin. It is so incredible, the journey that she takes and the person that she is in the end compared to who she started with. I'm just in awe of this amazing woman. She is so powerful and regal and elegant and everything that I want to be. I highly recommend picking up this book. 5 out of 5 stars. It is amazing. Sarah J. Maas has done an excellent job with this little beauty, and you definitely need to read final book in the series. Incredible. I am going to be going on to the spoilery section of the video now. So if you have not read it, click off this video and then come back when you have finished reading it to discuss this amazing book with me, because I really want to discuss it with you when you have finished reading it. Well, hello all you Mist and Fury veterans who have survived the beauty that is this wonder. I loved this book so much. Feyre is a badass. All the scheming, incredible. I loved it. Loved it to death. It has been a few days since I finished it. I needed to give myself time to process. I am just finally now starting to get over my mourning period for this book. Seriously, I read probably about the last half, maybe 1/3 in one sitting. I was just like, because all this took me about 2 weeks, and then when I got to that last bit, I'm like, power through, Courtney. You need to keep on reading it. You need to finish this. Oh my god, what is happening? I cannot not finish this. This is incredible. I'll start going along in chronological order with what happened and what stood out to me in this book. So first thing, we find Feyre at Tamlin's, pretending she was taken over by Rhys and that it was just all fake, and that now she is back in Tamlin's and that she loves him and she's trying to get over what happened with Rhys. But really, she was scamming. She was pretending she was going to rip Tamlin's court apart from the inside, and I'm like, yeah girl, you do your thing. This is amazing. Oh, I love the scheming. It was so much fun. I felt bad for this, but I understood why she was doing this. How she was using Lucien and kind of slipping it to Tamlin that they were, you know, being kind of naughty behind closed doors, and how she played it so carefully. It was incredible how that one night she pretended, or she actually did, or I don't know, I didn't get that, if she pretended to have a nightmare or she actually had a nightmare but she used it to her advantage, and then she went into Lucien's room for comfort, and then she knew when Tamlin was coming around the corner, so she could just be like, you know, caught in a not such a good situation, so Tamlin thinks that something's going on because she was only in her nightgown and it was the middle of the night and she was in his room. And I'm like, you planned that? That is incredible. I am completely impressed with you. Well done. And then the part where Tamlin hurt Feyre and then she has all bruises, and then she walked out with her head held high but bruised and bloody, and they saw all that and they took that into account, and they were like, oh my god, he's doing this to this amazing woman that saved us from under the mountain. Why is he doing this to her? Yes, you let them see it. Incredible. And then you get to the part with, oh my god, the Highburn twins. They're being all mean and witchy, and they ended up going and killing those, what are they called? Children of the Blessed. In such horrible ways too. Even after Feyre was like, no, please don't do that. I really don't want you to do that. But they still do, and they hunt her behind her back and go do it. And I'm just like, no, that's not cool. Why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing that. And then they go and do it. I'm just like, no. And then we come to the part where Feyre's planning to escape because she's done all she needs to do with all her scheming in the Spring Court. She's like trying to walk past, and then she finds Lucian, and she's like, well, I can't just leave him. I need to help him, which is so good of her. She's such a good friend in that regards. It was just so nice of her. So she goes and she helps Lucian. Oh my god, Ianthe? No. She is a total bitch, especially how she was playing Lucian like that. I mean, really? That was not cool. She got what she deserved with getting her hand smashed and her mind completely muddled up. And then the Highburn twins come into it, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna fight you now. And everybody, including Lucian's like, you can't hurt us. Look at you, you're a little tiny female. And then Feyre takes them on and she proves everybody wrong. Oh, yes. That was the first, like, I loved how Sarah portrayed Lucian's shock at that point. He's just like, where did she learn to do that? I loved that bit. That was so funny. I'm just like, yeah. She's got it going on now. She knows what she's doing. She can take care of herself. Yeah, you go, Feyre. I love strong, empowered women in books. It just makes me want to be like, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to go take a self-defense class. I'm going to get fit. And I can defend myself like that. And I can fight with the bad guys. Love the idea of it. And then we get, oh my god, one of my favourite parts is when they've just finished fighting Lucian's brothers, and Cassian and Azriel come down, and we see that they're okay, they're healed, they're back in fighting form. Cassian can fly, and it's just like, yes, they are safe. That made me so happy. I'm just like I just like had a little fan-killing moment. They were fine. And then with Feyre just like being like, no, not taking any shit from them anymore. And she shakes off her glamour that she had on for ages, and she's like, with her tattoo on her hand showing she's the High Lady of the Night Court, and that she's got all of the powers. You show them. You embrace your powers, woman. You do it, and you embrace your title. Loved it. I'm just, yes. Oh, and then we get to the part where Lucian meets everybody, and everybody is being normal, happy, and Lucian's just like, what's going on here? This is not the Court of Nightmares that I knew. This isn't what I thought things would be like. This is completely different. What the hell is going on here? They actually seem kind of nice, especially when he meets Mor and Amaran. I love the Inner Circle. They are the best people ever. I want friends like that. Meet Tessa. She's cute. So incredibly amazing. And then Rhysand comes in. Yeah, he's just casually lying in the back, and Feyre's just like, he's here. Rhysand's just like, leave now. And it's like, yeah, you two need some mate bonding time. So cute. Oh, those two are seriously the cutest couple ever. And then I feel so bad for Elaine. Like when they finally see Elaine, I feel so bad for her. It's like, no, I don't like it. You okay? And Nesta irritates me sometimes, especially in this book. She's so standoffish. It's like, come on, they're just trying to help you. This is the last thing Feyre would have wanted for you. It is not her fault, and she is not going to hurt you, and she's going to do her utmost to try to stop anybody else from hurting you and your sister as well. You need to trust her, because you can't do it on your own. You need to trust her. I kind of understand where she's coming from with Cassian though. How she's very standoffish at the start. It's like, well, she has no idea what this new feeling is that she's feeling towards him. I mean, she's probably never even as human experienced love, and then all of a sudden, bam, you get that intensified mate love, and it's like, what? Not that the bond clicked into place yet, but I really hope it does in continuing books. I just really loved that those two were together. Wasn't expecting it really. And Lucian and Elaine. And then we get to a fairly boring part. I found that middle part of the book it's a bit boring. It was all the scheming. What are we going to do about Hybern? Where is Hybern? How are we going to stop them from invading? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? How are we going to fix the wall? It was all good, but I'm just like, cool. But it was so much fun where she went into the library and she met that creature that lives down in the dark. I really liked that bit. That was quite fun. And I like that as we went along, Nesta started to come out of her shell more and more and more, and she started working with Amren and all of that. It was just, that bit I really liked. And I liked how Feyre went to the prison and went to see the bone carver and found out that to get his help in the war, she needed to get the Ouroboros, however you say it, the mirror. And she's just like, no, well, she's just like, yeah, we'll get that. And then when she found out what it actually did, she's like, no, I can't risk that. And she talks to Rhys about it and she's like, no, we can't risk that, which is okay. And then I loved how she went to the Court of Nightmares as the queen, well, not the queen, you know, the high lady. That was good. And she stood over them and she's like, yes, I'm queen. And then how she, like, when she saw magic creeping up, she's like, grab onto it with her magic. And she's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. You can't pick on me anymore. I'm your high lady. You do what I say. Loved it. Go Feyre. Women power. Yes. And then I loved that Feyre tried to learn how to fly. It was just like, yes, I love flying. So excited. Trying to learn how to fly. I was so excited. I'm like, yay, flying. Yay. But I also like how Sarah tried to portray it as really hard. Because she hadn't built up those muscles, she had no back muscles, she just grew the wings, so she obviously didn't really have many wing muscles. So it's like, I like that bit. Not everything you try, nothing you try really, you're going to be good at first go. You need to practice and practice and practice. And when you practice that much, you will get good at it. And another thing that got to me is when they went to see the bone carver, how Feyre ended up figuring out that the bone carver was actually taking the form of her and Rhys's son. That just got me right in the feels. I'm like, oh my god, it's their son. That's like, oh. And then when she went that time with Rhys to see him for one last time, how she, I don't know, I think he or the bone carver or Feyre alluded to it somehow, and then Rhys was like, is that? And then, well, is that? That's not just any old boy, is it? And then Feyre was like, no. Oh, little Feyre and Rhys and baby. Oh, can you imagine him? He'd be so cute. With the blue eyes and the black hair and the little wings, little Illyrian wings. Oh my god. Ugh. Then we had big meeting between all of the courts. I love how the first time they all dressed up so and I love how Nesta was like, I can't not come. I need to come. I am going to come. Yes, Nesta, you step up to the plate. You go with them because you know what's in store. Good on you. So they go and then they get there in their amazing dresses and they act more themselves, more normal than they ever have before when they're there. I like, this is actually you, which the world needs to see. The world needs to see how you really are, not how you portray yourself. Because you need to be united in this fight against Hybern. You need to be united throughout. You're not going to get anywhere with fighting with your neighbors, other rulers in the same country as you. You're not gonna get far by doing that. So I liked how they started to become more themselves. And then we had, oh my god, the bit where Tamlin came in, just like winnowed in on the spot just like that, which is so rude, by the way. I mean, you don't winnow into another person's house like that. You'd think you'd have like, holy crap, it's early. 1 a.m. So rude. You'd think they'd have wards around the place so you couldn't just winnow in. You had to winnow somewhere else and then walk in. Anyway, and he just winnowed in and I'm just like, uh-oh, now the shitstorm starts. What's gonna happen? And then there's a whole bunch of fighting and crap. That goes down. It's just like, yeah. And then Tamlin's like acting all the sulky High Lord. Oh, she hurt me. Oh, doesn't love me. Oh, she left me. Get over it, Tamlin. Seriously. You trapped her in a house when you knew it was horrific for her after Under the Mountain. Seriously. You did this to yourself. You stuck her inside a house and did not let her leave. You trapped her again just as Amarantha did. And then you gave her sisters over to Hybern and had them turn into High Fae. Oh my god, get over yourself, dude. Of course she's not gonna lie back and take that. She's going to get revenge. And he thinks, oh no, she's just gonna come back to me willingly. No, nuh-uh. Idiot, seriously. You'd think he would have gotten it. Apparently not though. But then, yeah. But I love it how you can, during it, Feyre and Rhys, they sort of kind of open up to themselves a little bit more. Open up a bit, like, not about themselves, but their relationship. They show little bits of it during that meeting. Not whole bits of it, of course, but little bits of it. And Tamlin picks that up and is like, oh. And you can picture how he's thinking when they do stuff like that. You can, like, when they're being all lovey-dovey and romantic, and when they're trying to protect each other, you can see how Tamlin's looking and going and seeing that. Yeah, they are the real deal. They are mates. They are in love. She did not leave you for just anybody. She left you for the love of her life. You cannot hold a grudge because you're not him. There's just nothing to be done about it. I mean, you're not Rhys. Surely somebody else might be. What might think of you what Feyre thinks of Rhys, but it's not Feyre, not after she changed. Anyway, and I loved how afterwards, like in the little snippets we catch with you catch Callias, the High Lord of the Winter Court afterwards, and he's a totally different person. And also, especially Helion, the High Lord of the Summer Court. I think it's the Summer Court. No, not Summer Court. The Dawn Court. And he's like a completely different person. He was putting on a hell of a show, and he's like nice and really sweet and a little bit kinky because of the stuff he, wanted to get on with more. And Cassian, Azriel, I'm just like, yeah, that's not gonna go down well. And then I'm so glad when we finally found out at the end that she confides in Feyre that she's been trying to hide to herself, and she doesn't know how to say that she actually likes girls. And I'm just like, oh, come on. See, that was one thing that I was like, I kind of get why she did that, but I kind of get it. But she could have brought it in a lot, like I feel like Sarah could have brought it in a lot earlier, that diversity. And I mean, I don't like how Mor had to hide it for basically her entire 500 or however long she's lived for, 500 years of existence. I don't like how she's had to hide it for that long and how she's felt the need to hide it for that long. That really hit me hard. I'm like, she shouldn't have to hide it for that long. I mean, it's after she left, she got away from her parents and Eris, and she was in a safe place with people that genuinely cared about her. She should have been able to be herself, and then she wouldn't have been stringing Azriel or Cassian along for all those years. I feel like that should have happened, and she shouldn't have felt that she had to hide it for 500 years. That just made me, why? I mean, this is the first person, she has had relationships, but I mean, she shouldn't have to hide herself like that. Nobody should. I don't like it. I did not like it. I feel like she shouldn't have had to hide. Anyway, but yeah, I loved Helion. He made me laugh my head off. So funny. Beren, the asshole. I did not like him in the slightest. I wish we got to kill him off in the end, but that didn't happen. By the end of the book, Eris isn't High Lord yet, and we've still got Beren as High Lord, and I'm just like, no. I like how we found out about Lucian's mum, and how Lucian is actually, I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Hellion's son. I'm just like, yeah, I like it. I'm excited to see how that's going to play out with the spin-off series. That should be good. I'm really looking forward to them. And then what did we have? We had the attack on Tarquin City, the Summer Court City. That was quite scary. But I loved it, how the soldiers of the Summer Court were there for ages trying to fight off the incoming Highburn soldiers. But they couldn't do it. There was just so many of them. Feyre and Mor, 2 seconds to the room, and they're all like, yeah boys, we got this. You can just sit back and relax, and us girls will take care of it. And then like 2 seconds, while the other guys would have taken like 2 hours, and they took 2 seconds to kill all of the bad guys. I'm just like, yeah, you go girls. Love that bit. And then, oh my god, how Feyre was trapped in Rhysand's mind when they were going, like when Rhysand went into that boat and there were so many of them, and then they met the King of Highburn, and I'm just like, no, Rhys, no, why? I got so scared. I'm just like, oh god, he better not get hurt. But he was okay, and it was good, and nobody got really hurt in that one. And then, how at the end, sorry, I'm getting a lot off track here. I'm like going here and then here and then here. Anyways, and then how at the end of the High Lord meeting, Nesta like sort of starts to collapse and throws up, and we find out later it's because the wall has actually fallen. Highburn has got to it before Amren and Nesta can fix it. Figured that would happen, but still very annoyed about it. Holy shit, what's gonna happen now? What are we gonna do now? I have absolutely no idea. And then they have to start getting prepared for war so quickly. They need to like get their troops together and get this and then get that and then blah blah blah, and they need to do so much, and I'm just like, oh my god. And it's like it all gets the ball rolling so quickly, and it's like I'm like, oh my god. And then we find out that Tamlin again has betrayed them. He came to the meeting, he was reasonable, and we just talked to him, and then of course he goes and he betrays them again. And we're like, oh my god, no, not okay. Oh, so angry. And then they go back to Velaris. Oh, I love Velaris. I'm so glad Lucian saw Velaris. And oh, how sad were their last goodbyes. They said goodbye to their house and goodbye to everything. I'm just like, no. And then off they went, and I don't know where did they get straight away. I think they flew to where they knew the army was, and then they had that huge big, oh no, that's right, the night before that they go, the night before they take off on their war. Oh, Feyre, she goes down and she makes a deal with that, I don't know what it is, that weird ass creature down in the library. I'm like, when I heard about that, I'm like, oh my god, you are one brave woman. Ooh. But she did it, and I'm really happy she did it. And what did she give for it? Oh, a skylight. Easy. She gave a skylight for it. That made me really happy. She doesn't tell anybody about it, which is very sneaky of her. And then they go off to that battle, and they annihilated them. They did so well in that one. And we're like, yeah, we have the best team ever. I'm just like, yeah. You go, you Illyrians, and you go, Rhysand, and you go. All the dark bringers, I think they're called. Yes, I liked it. And how the girls sat on the sidelines, I'm just like, oh, I don't really like that. But anyway, they sat there. It was fine. I'm having real trouble. I read it so fast, I'm in real trouble remembering the order. Especially because like all this happened over such a short period of time, and I read it like most of this action-packed part in like a night. And I was like, what? And then we get them going into the other battle because the Highburn army like skirted around them entirely when that was distracting them from doing all that other stuff with when they were fighting the other army, and they distracted them, and it's like, oh, okay. So they have to quickly jump after they've done this whole battle to go get them. And that battle does not go well. We find there's mass slaughtering everywhere, and I feel so bad for them. I'm like, oh my god, Rhys, please be okay. Everybody please be okay. And then Feyre ends up persuading Mor to go down and help. And she does, but then Feyre goes off. She's sneaky and she goes off and she winnows to the forest. The middle, I think it's called. She goes to the middle and she finds the Suriel. I like the Suriel. She is really quite nice to Feyre, which is good. It's very good. And then they talk, but then all of a sudden the arrows come and we're like, no. And then Feyre takes, like, after she sees the two highborn soldiers and Ianthe, she takes on running, and they're running after her, and she runs. And I'm like, where does she think she's going? Because she looked like she had a plan. She sounded like she had a plan, but she was running, and then she gets to the Weaver's cottage. And I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen here? And then she goes inside, but she's holding the door open. I'm like, why are you holding the door open? I don't get it. Close the door. That would make more sense, because then they can't get in. That would make more sense. But like, she's holding it with all their might. I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And then, just as I knew they would, the Highborn warriors and Ianthe come rushing in. I'm like, what are you doing now? You're stuck. You can't hold that door forever. But, oh my god, the clever girl, she darts out of that door so quickly. I couldn't believe how quickly she could have done that. Amazing. And then the Weaver gets them. Yay, no more Ianthe. Yay. And that was such a good way to get rid of them both too. And as much as you can with an immortal being like that, to get the Weaver on their side. And then she runs back to the Suriel, and he's just sitting there and he's dying, and that bit actually made me really sad. I felt so bad for the Suriel, even though he's not exactly nice, but he's so good. He helped her out a lot. Do pity out there. That's right. She went back, and then we find out, oh, this bit killed me. That Cassian got hurt seriously badly. That bit killed me. I'm like, oh my god. He better not die. He better be okay. Oh my god. Oh, so he was fine. Very happy about that, thank god. Oh, that night, Elaine was taken by Highborn because of the slaughter. That bit was so upsetting. But of course, Feyre had to go, and Azriel went with her. That was so happy making. I was so glad that he went with her. And I loved the way they like snuck so carefully in there with him in the shadows, her disguised as Ianthe, and they just roll in there like nothing's a problem. And then they met Julian. At this point, I was like, is he still on their side? Is he gonna? He can see through her disguise. Is he gonna out them? But no, he starts helping, and he tells her where Elaine is, and then they go and get her, which is so good. I'm like, yes. I was amazed at how fast they actually found her. That was amazing. And then with Jurian's help, they know how to get out, and Jurian, on Feyre's request, went and got the other girl that was strung up, the human. Feyre and Azriel had Elaine, and then they all ran, and then they ran, and I'm like, yes. Then somehow the Highborn found out that they were there. I can't remember how, but they found out that they were there, and then they were running for their lives, and it was like, oh my god, go, run faster. And then they were coming to a cliff, and they had to fly to get to the part where the wards ended so they could winnow out of there. It's like, oh my god, she has to fly. And then they had the dogs. How's she gonna do this? Oh my god, she can't fly like normal. It was actually quite a funny thing when she kept like trying to fly and she'd run into trees and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, Feyre. So silly. And then, oh, I was so happy at the point where Tamlin came in, and then he started to fight off the wolves, so Feyre could have a second, like she could continue going, running. And then that bit lasted for a long time. I was surprised at how long that scene dragged out for. And then Feyre actually made the jump and she was flying, which was incredible. I loved that she was able to fly at that point. It's like that story that they told how under those circumstances it finally just clicked and they were like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. It's kind of funny how those kind of things work. But the crazy thing was Azriel, with his, ended up getting hurt wings, and Feyre got an ash arrow through her shoulder. I'm like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen here. I felt that something bad is going to happen here. And Feyre got the arrow through, and Azriel kept on getting his wings shredded because he was trying to fly with both Elain and with the other girl, and he was like egging Feyre on to go. And she ended up flying, and then when they got there, they both winnowed out and they winnowed back. And Tamlin ended up getting out and jumping, and he got to the end of the wards, and then he winnowed out. And I'm like, yes, they are all safe. Oh, hooray! And they got back. Oh, it was just all happy making that they were all safe, including Elain. But unfortunately, Azriel was so torn up that he was really badly hurt at that point, which was quite upsetting. Poor Azriel. He couldn't really fight in the next day's battle, which was huge. Oh my god, so much happened in that battle. And everybody joined them. There was like every one of the courts. And oh, what? That's right, that happened that night. Feyre went back and she ended up going to the Court of Nightmares, and she went downstairs and she found the mirror and she looked into it because she's like, we can't survive this unless we get the bone carver. So she went and she got the mirror. She's such a brave woman. That was incredible how she did that. I admire that so much. So she went there and she looked into the mirror, but we didn't get to see much, which was weird. I thought we'd get to see a lot more of that, but we didn't. That's okay. And she came out the other side and we saw her with the bone carver, and he's like, you got it. Well, I just wanted to see if you were worthy of fighting for. And he found her worthy, and so good. And it was amazing what Feyre saw in them. She saw herself, thorns and all. She saw all of the bad things she's done, all of her misdeeds, all of her misjudgments, all of everything bad she'd ever done. And it was incredible to me that she was able to take that on board, to look at herself objectively with all of her faults, lay that on the table and accept it and just be like, that's me and I'm okay with that. She was able to take those things and put them with the things she has done well, and she was able to say that that's just all me. I'm still growing and I'm still learning, and I accept myself. I forgive myself for all of those things that I have done wrong. That bit was just, to me, was just incredible. To be able to forgive yourself for that kind of thing, for pretty much opening the doors for Hybern to come in because she destroyed the spring court, all of that kind of thing. I'm just like, oh, and you know, anybody else would pretty much be able to forgive you for that kind of thing, but forgiving yourself for letting that is so much harder to do, because you feel like you should be better than that. You should be better. You should not have done that. That as a moral of the story, and that as character development, was incredible. It had such a motivational and important message for all of us, that we need to accept ourselves as we are. We all make mistakes. We all have our faults. We just need to stop, look at ourselves objectively and forgive ourselves. Because once we forgive ourselves, that's the way we are going to improve. And that's what Sarah has really portrayed in that book, that yes, you can make mistakes. Even this awesome, kick-ass, high lady of the Night Court can make mistakes, does make mistakes. But what she is able to do to get to that level is forgive herself. Such a good message. That really hit home with me. Yes, I love the character development in this novel. One of the best things ever. And so the Bone Cover accepted that he would help, so she went back to the camp and she didn't get much sleep. And then the battle started the next morning, and I was so scared. It was so long. Bone Cover was there, and the other scary ass monster was there, and then Rhys,an, the tricky little devil he is, ended up getting the Weaver in, and he's just like, yeah, I can make a deal too. And they got 3 immortals there. 3 of them. 3 of them. They should be able to whoop some Hyper up. But no. Of course they didn't. It wasn't even enough, including with all of the Illyrian fighters, all of the Darkbringers, most of the other court people as well, still weren't able to, and they started to lose again. It's like, yes, right, we get it. Hybern is some serious muscle. So sad when the Bone Cover died, just like blew up in a mist of red smoke, and I'm just like, oh, but he really helped her. He was actually kind of being nice to her for a little while there. So we never actually found out what happened to the other monster, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Weaver died in the end. And then when everything was going to shit, and Rhys,an was almost dying, and so was Cassian and Azriel and more. Amren and Feyre had to run to the cauldron because they were the only people left, and they were running and running and running, and they finally got there, and the Weaver died. They saw Hybern, and Hybern flew off because Nesta was creating that distraction. And then they got up to the top, and they got near the cauldron after like killing everyone else. Feyre put her hand on the cauldron, and then Amren didn't, and then Amren said, oh, I lied. You bitch! What are you thinking? I was like going off my tree. You can't do that. You're their friend. What are you doing? Why are you betraying them? No, Amren, no. You need to do what you said you were going to do. What are you doing? I'm like freaking out there. I had to close the book, put it aside. I'm like, no. Freaking out. And then Feyre got transferred along with the cauldron to there, and then they were putting up such a good fight, both Nesta and Cassian, and I'm like, oh no, it's gonna happen. Thank God at that point, both the humans ended up coming, and Cursed Queens humans ended up coming, and they brought a battle with them, and so did Miriam and Drakon. Their soldiers ended up coming on the boats, and I'm like, yes, back up, yes, maybe we can still win this, maybe we can still get through it, yes. And then, but while that fight's going on out at sea with everybody, and Feyre with Cassian and Nesta, and all that happening, they killed me. And then when the King of Hybern brings their father in, and then he kills him, and oh, that bit made me so sad. I'm like, oh, poor daddy. He actually helped them. He ended up getting that human army, but someone had to die. It was reasonable, considering he was kind of a loose thread, like with 3 girls now being high fae. What was dad gonna do? He was still human. He didn't really have a place anymore. So it kind of worked out, but it still did make me a bit upset, and I felt sorry for the girls. But these things happen, sometimes have to happen in books, especially when it's like a really minor character that you don't hear much of. I swear that both Nesta and Cassian were gonna die at that point. I'm like, they're gone. Neither of those two are gonna survive. I don't know how they will survive. And then Elain. Oh my god, this bit, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was going, yes! When she stabs the knife into his neck. I'm like, yes, you go, girl, you go. And then she sees her father, and she runs to him, and then Nesta gets up, and she ends up twisting and twisting until his head actually comes off. King of Hybern is dead. Yes, finally! That bit made me so happy. I was so glad. Feyre was transported back with the cauldron back to where they actually were, and Amren was standing there going, come on girl, come on, fight it. Amren somehow ended up jumping into the cauldron, telling Feyre what she was doing, and then she ended up getting unmade, technically. She was going back into her natural form, and we knew she wasn't going to come back from that. And I'm just like, no, not Amren. Like, if any one of the inner circle had to die, I feel bad saying this, but yes, okay, it can be you, and because you're doing this, like, your natural form is amazing. Yeah. I was still really sad about going, no, I don't want you to go, especially not now that you'd found what's his name. But then she went in, and when she came out, she was so powerful that she broke the cauldron. I'm like, Amren, seriously this powerful that she breaks the cauldron when she comes out, and yet the other guys aren't. Like the gods of death and that other monster aren't as powerful as Amren, as our friend Amren. That bit was just like, oh my god, I didn't realize she was that powerful. I knew there was something up with her, but I didn't realize it was that serious. And then she goes and she's flying and she kills like tons of them, whole fields of Hybern warriors in one fell swoop, turns them to dust. That woman, whoa, she kicked some ass. And then, like, after Amren had like flown off into the sunset and she'd gone, I don't know really what happened there. Did she explode? Did she just mist away into nothing? That made me really sad, but I was also really happy that finally, like, all the Hybern people were pretty much gone and they had won. Like, Feyre had won. Yeah, I was so happy about that. But then we realized that the cauldron was broken. I didn't get what that meant at first. I'm like, okay, well, that's okay, isn't it? It's not that bad thing. And of course, it's the thing that holds the universe together. It's the thing that the universe was made out of. What's going to happen? And it started expanding and expanding, basically sucking away all of their world and all of the universe. And then Feyre was like, oh, I have to try this with Rhys. Oh, that scared me. When Feyre puts her hand on it and grabs Rhys and then goes into another dimension basically and sees what the cauldron sees. And then we hear Rhys talking in the background going like, I love you, goodbye, and all those type of things. She's not going to, is she? I'm like going in the back of my head, this isn't going to happen. That she's not building up to what I think is going to happen, is she? She better not be. I'm just totally in denial here going, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then we see the cauldron fusing piece by piece and we can feel that it's draining Rhys's power through Feyre, and then it's draining Feyre's power as well because she's having to put more and more of her own power in. And then once the final piece is clicked and Feyre's back in her own mind, I'm still in denial going, what I think happened didn't happen. No, it didn't. No, I refuse to believe it. I could basically, I had to force myself to read that next bit, and then it did happen. Feyre collapsed. Rhys was dead. And Feyre just started screaming. I'm like, no, I was still in denial. Like, this can't happen. This can't happen. This can't happen again. Not to one of my favorite characters. No, this is not going to happen. Not a main character like this. I know I'm in denial. This is not happening. This is not happening. And I'm like reading furiously, going, oh my god. They've got to fix this somehow. They've got to fix this. She can't do this. And then it continues on, like with Feyre just collapsing and people trying to get her and pick her up, and she's just like, no, she refuses to because her mate just died. And then we hear her realizing that the bond is gone. And I'm like, no. I'm basically in tears at this point, thinking he can't have died. No, Sarah would not do that. I would never read. I haven't read the Throne of Glass series, and I don't think I would read Throne of Glass. I could not cope. And then we hear Feyre start to realize what the Suriel said. Stay with your mate. Stay with him. Stay with him. Stay with him. So that's what she started to do. She reached out to him more and more and more, and she started to. And then she started screaming at all the High Lords that were gathering around, going, do something. And then they were like, I don't think it'll work for a High Fae. I mean, you were human when you were transformed. I don't think it'll work. But then Feyre kept screaming and screaming and screaming. And I'm like, I don't think this is going to work, because my mind went to that at some point. And I'm like, no, well, that couldn't work because he's High Fae already. How would that work? But then they started to, like, one by one they dropped the pieces in. Baron's not there. I actually wasn't thinking of Baron at this point. I was thinking of Tamlin, going, this can't work because they need Tamlin's piece, and Tamlin's not going to do it. Tamlin wouldn't do that. Not with the arsehole he's being. okay, well, what's going to happen? Like, they're all putting the thing in, but Tamlin's not going to. And then Beren came and I'm like, oh, Beren either. Beren's not going to do it. And then ends up doing it. I'm like, oh, good on you. You redeemed yourself a little bit. You still need to die though, but good on you. And then we have Tamlin coming over. And I'm just like, you're not going to do it, are you? You're not going to do it. You're just going to let him die. You're going to let Feyre exist in misery for the rest of her life. Her immortal life. You're not going to do it, are you? You're going to just kill the whole thing. But then he says, I hope you're happy, Feyre. And then he does. He drops a little piece. I couldn't breathe at this point. Is it actually going to work? Is he going to come back to life? Is he going to? And then Feyre starts like gripping onto him because she can kind of feel him, feel the bond just a little bit. It's like she's holding pieces of the bond, the broken pieces. She pulls him back basically after she figured out how she could put her little bit of the Night Court back into Rhys, which is incredible. Like, it's so good that she can do that. And then he starts coming back. I'm like, oh, it's so happy. I'm like, he's crying my eyes out. But he came back. I was so happy when that happened. I just could not contain myself. I knew there was going to be a loophole around. And then, which was an utter surprise to me, he brought Amren back. I'm like, wow. I really was not expecting that. But that's fine. That was so good that Amren came back, and just as a normal high face, so she doesn't have to worry about much anymore, and she has to eat normally, which was one of the lines in there. That was quite funny. It was such a good ending, but with Rhys coming back and our Amren coming back and everybody in the inner circle living. I was so happy about that. I can't wait to the next book. Even though it's not going to be about Feyre, it's still going to be about that world, and I love that world. And Feyre, and we'll be able to see Feyre and Rhysand too, just not with them, which is fine by me because I want to see their life. Basically, I want to see their life plan out. I want to see when they have a child. I want to see all of that. I sometimes wish books could go on for longer than they do, so we could actually see, just read their entire life. I wish. This was an amazing book. Ended perfectly. Super excited to see where Sarah takes the next slot of this series. So happy that Feyre and Rhysand are going to live happily ever after. So happy with how it ended. So happy that the inner circle is fully intact and that the inner circle is just perfection of friendship. I want friends like that. It was an amazing, amazing book. I loved it to death. Such a good way to end the series, and Feyre is part of the series anyway, and I'm so looking forward to the next part, hoping it's going to follow one of her sisters, maybe Nesta or Elaine. Amazing, amazing book. One of the best books I have read. Tell me your thoughts down below if you've read it, which you should have if you watched this because massive spoilers. Amazing, and I hope you loved it as well. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this. I make videos every Wednesday and Saturday. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!